Happy Mum Day, guys, and welcome back to my second instalment of Manic Mum Days. I hope you all enjoyed last week. I am overwhelmed with the amount of response I got to my birth story. I loved sharing it, and it's so nice to know that so many people are interested in hearing it. Today, I need to grab my phone. Today I am going to be doing a what I wish I knew about pregnancy before I was pregnant video. So I've written some notes in my phone. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So yeah, this is going to be things I wish I knew about pregnancy video, and I hope you enjoy. Getting swiftly into it, the first one is the sickness. Now, I knew morning sickness was a thing, and I fully expected to have it like most people have morning sickness, other than like really lucky people. But my morning sickness came before I even knew I was pregnant. So my morning sickness started at 4 weeks, about 4 weeks pregnant, and I was sick all the way through up until like I was in labour to Delilah and I was being sick. So that's what I had. And if you've never experienced morning sickness, the only way I can describe it is like car sickness and a hangover all in one. And it lasted for me some days, or a lot of days, all day. So even when I wasn't actually being sick, like I would feel sick, and it was just not very nice at all. And yeah, people would always be like, it will go after about 14 weeks, and it didn't. And maybe I was just really unlucky, but I just didn't realise how severe morning sickness could be until I was going through it. It made a lot of my pregnancy pretty miserable. Like, I remember being over the toilet crying, oh, my baby hates me. Like, looking back now, it's ridiculous, but at the time it was just horrendous. And it got to a point as well, I remember thinking like, this is it now, I'm going to be sick every day for the rest of my life. Like, even when this baby is born, I'm still going to be being sick, because I couldn't remember not feeling like that and not being sick. So that was that. Getting on to our second point is cramp. Nobody ever told me that pregnancy gives you cramp. Like, I would wake up in the night with like the most horrendous cramp in my legs known to man. Like, and it would wake me up and I'd bolt up in bed as fast as I could, because I had a big stomach out here. And I'd like, oh, and what I'd have to do is I'd have to put my feet like firmly on the ground for it to like kind of go. Oh, it was horrendous. And then I remember saying to people, oh, I've been getting cramp loads recently, and I've been going, oh yeah, that's pregnancy, I got that too. But no one told me that. No one said, oh, when I was pregnant I got, like, I think people forget about it because no one ever told me that. So this is why I'm telling you, so you know and you can be prepared for cramp waking you up at night. That's horrible. The next one I wanted to say, not very nice, not everyone wants to know about it, but is gas. For me, mainly burping. So like, I'm not a very burpy person, if that's a term. But when I was pregnant, and like as soon as I was pregnant, it was probably before I found out, but I only really noticed it after I found out, I would burp constantly, and Ben would get so frustrated with it, like, it's so unladylike, you're burping at the dinner table, but like, I couldn't help it. Like, I'd burp all the time, and it's just the weirdest little thing that you wouldn't associate with pregnancy, and I still to this day don't know why that happens in pregnancy, but apparently it does, and I don't know why. But that was one thing I wasn't expecting, and sort of like snuck up on me, along with all these other things. That brings me on, leading from the cramp in your leg. My leg suffered a lot in pregnancy because I also got really bad sciatica, and I'd never had sciatica before. And if you don't know what sciatica is, it's like, I can't even really explain it. It's like these pains down like your hip and your bum and down your leg, and it would make it like hard to walk. Oh, it was so painful, and I've never had it before, and I remember telling people about it and they go, oh yeah, I got sciatica in pregnancy and I've had it ever since. I just thought it was one of these pregnancy symptoms that like went away when the baby was born and stopped leaning on nerves. No, apparently if you've had it, you'll carry on getting it. So luckily I actually haven't had it since I've been pregnant, but I'm expecting it to come back probably with the next pregnancy, or I'm not sure. I feel very lucky it hasn't come back, because I was told constantly throughout my pregnancy, oh yeah, that will carry on now, you'll never not have sciatica, which I loved hearing. But no, I haven't had it since I've had Lila, and hopefully I won't have to have it again for a while, because it was awful. It'd make like, because I was doing 12-hour shifts on my feet as well, so it'd make work like really hard. I struggled a lot with sciatica actually. I do feel grateful though that I didn't have that pelvic girdle pain, is it called? The some people get it where their like hips like move and come apart in pregnancy, and it's like really painful for them, and I didn't have that, which I'm really grateful for. SBD, that's what it is. I know there's a few different terms for it, but yeah, I didn't have that. I'm really grateful, because I don't know how I would have coped. I don't know how people cope with that. The next point is exhaustion. The first few weeks, just the first trimester, if I could be pregnant and just skip out the first trimester, that would be amazing, because the first trimester for me was horrendous. I was sick all the time. I was exhausted like I've never known exhaustion before in my life. Like, having a newborn waking up all the time is nothing compared to the exhaustion of being a few weeks pregnant. And I didn't have a bump to show for it. We'd barely told anyone I was pregnant, so you just felt awful constantly, and there was no one even knew why, and you couldn't tell anyone, and it was just miserable for me. But the exhaustion, oh, it was, I can't even explain. When I finally got some energy back, I felt like I'd been on drugs or something, because I felt like just a normal amount of energy levels were like skyrocketed from how I had felt. Like, I would want to go out and do things, and I'd want to get on with housework, and I would want to do all this stuff, but like all I could do was sleep. Like, I couldn't keep my eyes open in the day. I would sit on the sofa and just fall asleep like that. Like, I knew you got tired in pregnancy, but nothing prepares you for the level of exhaustion you feel when you are growing a tiny little seed of human. My next one is the worry. Now, I know that all mums worry about their children. Like, it's perfectly normal to worry about your children. When I was pregnant, I was like a worry bag of worries. Like, I worry about Delilah now, but at least I can see her and I can hold her, and I kind of know she's alright. Like, even at night, we've got one of their mats, got a breathing monitor. Like, I worry about her. But when I was pregnant, and like, you can't see them and you can't hold them, and all you can rely on is their kicks, and sometimes, like, before you have your scans and you start feeling them kicking everything, you've got nothing. Like, I would worry constantly, to the point I didn't want to buy stuff for a while, because to me, I was like, I'm not bringing a baby home in June, like, something's bound to happen. And as awful as that sounds, like, that's generally how I felt. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that nothing bad would happen, and that I was gonna have a perfectly healthy baby at the end of it. Like, just the littlest thing constantly, I worried. And that was hard. It was really hard to get through, and like, especially when she started kicking, the midwives make this massive thing about, obviously, they don't say count kicks anymore, do they? But they say about, if you've got any doubts about movement, to go to the hospital. And I agree. Like, if you have any doubts and you feel like anything is wrong, just get checked. No one's gonna mind. You're not wasting anyone's time. Like, if you are unsure and you need reassurance, or you think something's wrong, it's not worth it. Just go and get checked. But because there is such emphasis on this, I would constantly be like, I haven't felt her kick. And especially, like I said, because I worked long hours, a lot of the time I'd be distracted. So maybe she had kicked, but I hadn't really noticed it. And I would constantly be like, she's not kicked, what's going on? I would worry all the time. And I wasn't prepared. I was prepared to worry, but I wasn't prepared to worry like that. It got really on top of me a lot of times about, because as well, they say now that they do not to count the kick specifically, but that to notice your baby's routine and rhythm, so that they'll say a baby will get into a routine where they'll always kick between about 10 and 11 o'clock at night maybe, and if they don't, maybe get checked out. Whereas I don't know why, and it wasn't for my lack of like trying to observe it, Delilah never had a pattern. She never had like a routine where I could go, right, at this time she will most likely kick. It was really sporadic. Her movements and her awake time and her sleep time was really like, she never had much of a routine, which I found crazy, and again worried me even more because there was nothing I could rely on to see if things were okay. So I just worried all the time about her movements, and worrying was like one thing I just wasn't prepared for. Now, another thing that took me by massive surprise, sleepless nights before the baby. Now I thought you have a baby and you just never get to sleep again, which can be true. For me at the minute it's true, but I have had full night's sleeps since she's been born, which I did not expect. But I didn't expect to be waking up multiple times in the night from like my second trimester of pregnancy. Maybe in your third trimester you expect to be getting up, and you expect to be getting up to go to the toilet a lot when you're pregnant. But I would wake up at random times in the night, not needing the toilet, not because of cramp, like I would wake up just randomly because I was awake and couldn't get back to sleep. And I remember feeling so frustrated, thinking all I want before this baby comes is a full night's sleep, and knowing that I just wasn't going to get one. And I remember saying, I'm not going to get a full night's sleep now for the next like 3 years, and I wasn't expecting this. It was really, it wasn't the worst thing out of all this list, but it was something that definitely took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to be having sleepless nights and like broken night sleeps from such early on in pregnancy. One thing I haven't written on this list that I've just remembered as well that I wasn't expecting from pregnancy, but I've just remembered now, is like backache, how early you get backache. Now I obviously expected backache in pregnancy, but I expected it like when you've got a big bump and there's a lot of strain on your back. But I started getting backache from before I even really had a bump, and obviously now I know it's from like everything stretching and moving, but that really surprised me. And also I still suffer with backache now, and Delilah's almost 5 months old, so from like as soon as you're pregnant till forevermore you're gonna have backache, and I wasn't expecting that, and it is one of the worst things, to be fair. I struggled with that, and I still do struggle with it like most days. At the end of the day I'm like, old granny, like, broken back. And a lot of people I've heard say they have the epidural and suffer with backache from the epidural, but I'm not saying it's not that for them, but I'm not sure it's not just a after you've had babies thing, because I didn't have an epidural and I still suffer with backache now 5 months later. So I'm not sure about that one. Spoke about sleepless nights. That was, again, yeah, a surprise. Now I will talk to you about something that kind of ties in with sickness, but smells. Ugh, I knew you went off smells, like even for thinking about it now makes me like want to be sick. I know you like have aversions to certain smells when you're pregnant, but I never expected it to be such a big thing. I thought it was just like a little bit of pregnancy, you'd be like, oh, I don't really like the smell of that. No. So we've got a steamer and we cook veg in our steamer pretty much every night. When I was pregnant, it was like every night. I was not eating it because I would vom, but Ben would have veg out the steamer every night, and it, to me, stank the house out. I remember I would like, even thinking about it now, I can tolerate it now, but thinking back to it, I would walk in the house after work and I'd just, as soon as I walked through the front door, it would make me angry, and I'd like get angry at Ben, and poor Ben, like, he couldn't do anything about it. He just wanted to eat some vegetables, like, good on him, but it made me feel so ill. And I'd even like come upstairs to get away from it, and I could smell it upstairs, and the whole house just stank of like steamed veg. And for some reason it was just the worst smell I've ever smelled. Like, I would work in a care home all day dealing with, you know, people's messes, and that wouldn't bother me, but coming home to smell that steamed veg was just, no. That is something I hope I can avoid next time. I'm sure I won't, but it's something I can avoid next time. If you suffered with smells in pregnancy and you can remember like what they were, I'm sure you'll never forget what they were, because I'll never forget that veg smell. Like, comment down below and let me know what your smell aversion was, because I know everyone's is like really different. I'm really curious to know, because it's always the most random things as well, like I never expected. But all this being said, I have made pregnancy sound awful. Like, I've picked out some of the bad bits of pregnancy to talk about, and I've picked them out and I've spoke about all these bad bits, and I don't want to make pregnancy sound awful, because all in all, take these bad bits out or leave them in, they are like small parts of it. And I love being pregnant. Like, I would complain about being pregnant all the time. I think every pregnant woman does. But on the whole, I loved it and I miss it so much. If you could take out that first trimester, that was awful. I don't think there was like any positives about it. But after that, I loved being pregnant, and it's the best thing in the world. Feeling your baby kick is, I miss it so much. It's the most magical thing, and I cannot wait to experience it all again. And I know for a fact when I do it again, I'm going to sit there and think, oh God, why did I wish this on myself? This is awful. But you just look back and it's fabulous and it's all worth it. And Delilah's waking up, so I'm going to wrap this up. But thank you all for watching, and remember, it doesn't last forever, and you get a beautiful baby at the end of it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week.